What's going on, guys? As you can see, I'm sitting here in the tower, but it's not an ordinary tower. There's actually a lot of TV screens behind me. That's because I'm sitting in a virtual tower, and that's what today's topic is going to be about. I'm going to look at some of the pros of a virtual tower and how they're up and coming in the next few years. We'll start seeing a lot more of them. Now, virtual towers are actually already in existence in some European cities. Just some smaller airports are using them, and we're trying to get transitioned into the U.S. and start seeing them a lot more. So Raytheon, who is a major contractor in the FAA's next-gen modernization program, they're the ones kind of in charge of this remote virtual air traffic control towers. Now, the setup of a virtual tower is just how you'd imagine it. It's a lot like a normal tower. The only difference is you don't have the windows. Instead, you have these giant monitors that basically give you the same view as you would have at the window. Instead, you'd have cameras that feed each monitor and still provide you with that 360-degree view of the airfield. This is going to eliminate the need to actually build these towers. Instead, it can be on the ground or across the country in a remote location, and you could be doing air traffic control from the East Coast for the West Coast. And so one of the great benefits of a virtual tower is the remote locations and being able to do it from different places. Also, this concept would allow a lot of air traffic members that work together to actually be centralized in the same location. So instead of having people actually up in the tower and then at the bottom or a different building, they can all work together at the same place. And that's going to make things a lot smoother for them. In theory, this would lead to better communication channels and just overall improved efficiency. But the main benefit of a virtual tower is the cost. And although the amount of technology required to support a virtual tower may be high at first, it's a cheaper alternative to revamping some of the existing towers or just constructing new ones. In the long run, a virtual tower is going to last longer. And many of the towers in the U.S. are actually reaching the end of their economic life and are in dire need of some upgrades that can be very expensive to maintain. So that's where a virtual tower idea would kind of make sense. As this virtual tower concept kind of evolves, we'll start seeing a lot more of them across the United States. They'll probably do some testing at first, and then once it becomes reliable, proves reliable, we'll probably start seeing them at a lot more airports. Even some of the airports that didn't necessarily need a tower at first, but could benefit from one. Now, there are certainly some flaws associated with the virtual tower, such as visibility. You can put a camera out there and make it look just like what you'd see from the tower, but the truth is there's certain angles that a traffic controller might have inside a tower that they won't have from a camera's point of view. So that's just one thing to consider. Also, any weather that could cause some poor visibility, such as rain or just fog, that could cause an issue if you're in a virtual tower because you're looking through cameras and not a window. With a window, you can kind of make some things out in certain areas. With a camera, not so much. It's probably not as high quality, but one of the good benefits of a camera is you could incorporate some thermal vision to help identify where aircraft are on the field and where they're moving to. Also, another thing to consider in a virtual tower is you're probably going to incorporate a lot more ground surface detection equipment so you can actually see where aircraft are moving around on the airfield. There's a lot to consider when talking about virtual towers and incorporating them in the U.S. The good thing is it's not going to make a whole lot of changes to the procedures that a lot of controllers go through. You're just going to have a lot more technology to deal with, and that's one of the humps they'll have to get over. It's just a learning curve. And, a lot of people are set in their ways knowing how to do things, so it might change a little bit. But again, the main benefit of a virtual tower is to reduce costs and also improve safety. And as we all know, the number one concern in the aviation industry is safety. So with that, I'd like to actually drop in and take you guys for a tour of a virtual tower. So, one of the unique benefits of working in a virtual tower, you get the privilege of traveling to work however you wish. And I choose to parachute in from C-130, so that's how I get to work now. We're going to travel to Verdansk International Airport, and the first thing you're going to see is an airplane with smoke coming out of it and the tower with fire and smoke coming out of it. And all I can say is don't be alarmed. Ever since this corona outbreak, we've had a lot of issues, and we've actually been fighting some zombies. So that's kind of what's going on. The world's just in chaos, and we like to make these virtual towers as realistic as possible. So that's kind of what we're facing. So this airport is actually no longer providing any services, but luckily I still have my access card, and I can still get in the door and give you guys a tour. So open this door, take out my handy tool, and glide on up to the top, and we'll get started. So come out and we'll go up these stairs. You see some graffiti, it's some things that might be broken, but as you can see, this tower looks a lot like a normal tower. We have our computer screens that give us the radar and just communication channels, with our phone to transfer to other centers. This is the mic we use to talk to you in the aircraft. Keyboards to help, input, output data. These might look familiar to you. We use these strips to help identify which aircraft we're communicating with and keep them in order. We keep these spinny chairs so we can conveniently move around the entire place. This giant cable, you might notice this satellite here. This is a very, very advanced piece of technology. Very few people have it. Luckily, our virtual tower has incorporated it, and it allows us the unique advantage of communicating with anything that flies in the air. We can pick up UFO communications with this thing, and we can actually talk back with this advanced mic. And this supercomputer, this thing has a lot of secrets that I can't even get into right now. The other thing is, don't be alarmed about the knife and the guns. Again, if zombies come around, we just gotta take care of them. So these file cabinets, this is where we keep all the important information that the FAA requires us to hold on to. I know this is virtual world, but we can still open these and take a look at those when we need to. Again, classified information I can't really give to you guys, but that's where we keep it. So we have a lot of these computers. We're typically a very busy airport, so there's always something going on. Sorry about that, guys. A zombie actually approached me and I had to take care of that, but I didn't want you to see the bloodshed. So to continue on with our tour, I'm going to hop up on top of this computer and actually get a better view of the airfield. As you can see, in this virtual world, it looks very realistic. As you can see, some gunfire going on down there. Someone's probably trying to fend for their life against the zombies. But yeah, that's pretty much all there is to this tour. I hope you enjoyed and learned something about virtual towers today. Appreciate your time, and well, before I go, I guess I'll show you how I leave. Just as interesting as I came in, I can just jump out and fly to my car with my parachute. That just about does it as I run into the street, but thanks again for your time.